Hey friends, it's Robin. Welcome back to my channel. It is time for my May TBR. If you've watched one of these before, you know that these are my favorite videos to film every single month. I am 100% a TBR reader, and I just think it's so much fun to pick the prompts every single month. So every single month I pick prompts out of this little jar, and I try to build a TBR based around these prompts. The caveat is usually that I need to own the book in some capacity, whether it be a physical book, an audio book, a KU book, something like that, just something that I already own. If you've seen one of these before, you know that something is missing. I do not have my TBR card here. So here's the thing. As of right now, April 24th, I have not read a single physical book all year. Because of that, I have put myself on a pretty strict book buying ban, like physical book buying ban, because I keep buying physical books and then I read them on my Kindle or I download the audiobook or whatever it is. Don't get me wrong, I love having books on my shelves. I love collecting books and owning books and looking at my books, and I love them. But I need to stop buying every single book that I want as a physical book. And because of that, I don't have any physical books. Technically, I do have Hostage of Pleasure physically, but I listen to this series on audio. And so I do have this one physically. It's just kind of off to the side. Let's see, what things do we need to talk about? Things I have kind of committed to is really only one. As of right now, I don't know of any readathons that are happening in May. I'm sure something will come up throughout the month, but as of right now, I'm not doing anything. The one commitment that I have is I am doing a buddy read for the rest of the story by Tel Bauer, and this is going to be over the whole month of May. Only thing that is set in stone for this month other than that is I have a secret vlog that is coming in 2 weeks, I believe. I have 5 arcs for the month of May, so it's a pretty light arc month for me. And then there's one new release that I will definitely be reading right away, and that is the next Hellenites series, which is, I think it's called like Mother's Day In by Lijiko. So I think we're gonna start with 10 prompts and see where we end up. And then depending on where we are, we might up it to 12. The cats are going absolutely bananas today, so hopefully they're not ruining my audio. So let's start with prompt number 1. Prompt 1 is this one, and this one is to read a book with nature on the cover. Okay, so for this prompt, I'm gonna go with Waiting for the Flood by Alexis Hall. This is book 2 in the Spires series. I finally read Glitterland earlier this month and absolutely loved it, and I really want to continue on with the series. This is, I believe, Alexis Hall's first series. I believe this was like the first series that he wrote, and it is getting republished at this point. And so this one doesn't have the new cover yet, but Glitterland does. But I am most likely going to listen to this one on audio. That's how I read Glitterland, and I really liked the audiobook. So I am going to read that one. I don't know who this one follows. I don't know if this series is following like a friend group or if they're all standalones. I don't entirely know. And I am going to kind of just roll with it. I absolutely love Alexis Hall, and I'm sure this is going to be a favorite as well. Pretty much every book of his that I read, I give like 4 or 5 stars. So I'm very excited for that one. Prompt number 2, that one. This one is fun, is a wild card. So I can pick any book that I want. I think I'm just gonna put the buddy read on here because that's going to be the easiest. So The Rest of the Story by Tel Bauer. This is a hockey romance. That's all I know about it. I tend to not read Tel Bauer's synopses. His books are usually either a hockey romance or a romantic suspense, and I love everything that Tel Bauer writes at this point. He's an autobi favorite author. I've never given a book of his less than 5 stars, and so I don't know what the synopsis for this one is. I think this one might be tied to Gravity, which I haven't read yet. I don't believe this is technically part of a series, so I think I'll be okay. And like I said, I'm going to be buddy reading this over the entire month of May. So prompt number 3. Oh, geez, that one jumped out. So let's just go with this one. And this one is to read a book with your favorite color. I've talked about this before. My favorite color is gray. And so I think I'm going to go with Gray by Jacqueline Osborne. The cover itself is not gray, but it says gray on it. So I think we're gonna go with it. This is the next book in, God, what is the name of the series? I need to just look it up. This series is called The Son of the Fallen, but this is the fourth book, and this entire series follows these half angels who are the embodiments of the seven deadly sins, and this book is following Gray, who is the embodiment of sloth. This character is kind of a very sweet cinnamon roll that needs to be protected at all costs. I'm really excited to get his romance. I have really enjoyed the series up until this point, and so I definitely want to continue on so that I don't like forget about it. That is going to be book number 3, prompt number 4. Let's pick this one. And this one is to read the highest rated book. So I'm going to go through some of the backlist titles and see which one is the highest rated. I'm not going to do any of the arcs or like the new releases just because I feel like that's not entirely fair. So I'm just going to kind of go through some of the backlist titles and see which one is highest rated. Okay, so for highest rated, there might be a book on my list that is higher rated than this, but I doubt it. I got to this and I was like, I don't think anything is going to beat this. And that is Moth by Lily Mayne. This has a 4.62 rating with almost 6,000 ratings. Does anyone give this anything other than 5 stars? That is absolutely wild. I'm trying to like look at the rating breakdown. It has a 70% 5-star average. Wild. This is book 5 in the Monstera series, and we have met this main character, and I am so excited to finally get his romance. You met him pretty early on in the series, but you really got to know him in book 3 for the first time, and you kind of learned that he had an earlier romance with a different hero, and now he's getting his actual HEA. This series is post-apocalyptic, and it takes place in a world where humanity has kind of crumbled since monsters came to Earth, and all of these are monster romances. And I've absolutely loved this series up until this point. They are so much fun. Definitely not like beginner monster romance reader friendly, but I'm ready for it. I can't wait. For round number 5, this one, of course, my cat just started to eat right beneath me. And this, this is a book outside of my comfort zone. Okay, for this one, I think I'm gonna go with Court of Undying Seasons by A.M. Strickland. This is an author that I have read from before and really loved, but this is definitely not a genre that I read often. This is actually YA fantasy. I know nothing about this book. It says that this is a lush queer YA dark fantasy. When our 19-year-old heroine volunteers to take her secret love's place in the village's finding, she is terrified. Those who are chosen are whisked away to the castle, a vampire school where human students either succeed and become vampires or fail and spend the rest of their lives as human thralls, or they don't survive at all. Finn is determined to forge a different path and learn how to kill the undead and get revenge for her mother, who is taken by the vampires. But Finn is quickly swept up into her new world and its inhabitants, particularly her handsome and hostile vampire maker. As our heroine stumbles across a string of murders that may be connected to a ritual, one with potentially lethal consequences for vampires and humans alike, she must uncover the truth and find the killer before she loses her life or betrays her own heart. This sounds like a lot of fun. It does sound like it has some tropes and stuff that I really love, but because it is a YA fantasy series, it is kind of outside of my comfort zone. I almost never read YA anymore, but I really love A.M. Strickland, and their last book, In the Ravenous Dark, was like a 4.5, 5-star book for me, and so I really do want to read more from that. Prompt number 6, let's go with this one, and this one is to read a book that is recommended or hyped. So for recommended or hyped, I am going to go with Pucking Around by Emily Rath, and this was recommended by Stef. I saw this originally over on Instagram from somebody, and I kind of had it on my radar, and then I was watching one of Stef's recent reads where she was reading a whole ton of hockey romances, and she ended up absolutely loving this one, and she told me that this is like a contender for a favorite of the year, and so I told her I was going to read it, and I was going to talk to her about it, so I'm going to read this one in May. This is an 800-page book, or like just shy of 800 pages. So this is a commitment. I do not read 750 some page books. Like that is not a thing that I do. So I'm scared, but everyone says that it's really, really good. So I'm hoping that this one lives up to the recommendation and the hype, because that is a lot of pages. Prompt 7 is Let's pick this one. And this one is to read a book with a cover that you don't love. Okay, so for this one, I am going to go with Don't Stop Me by Eden Emery. This cover does absolutely nothing for me. This is going to be a bit of a dig, so I'm sorry. But this gives me Bloom Book cover vibes, where it's just like a dark background with a random floral and or object on the cover, because that is what every single new Bloom Books cover is, and it does literally nothing for me. So I believe that this is a female spicy dark age gap romance between an adult club owner and her son's ex. This is for the secret vlog, so there is a little hint about the secret vlog. Let me know if you think you know what it might be. I'm really excited for it. That is what we are going to read for a cover that I don't like. So prompt number 8, and this is to read a contemporary. I'm gonna get one of the arcs on here because I haven't really gotten any arcs on here. And we are gonna go with Best Men by Sydney Carger. I do have the audiobook for this, so I will figure out how to pronounce this author's last name at that time. But this is a romance between the two best men of a wedding. It says, when two best men in a wedding party fall for each other, they realize love isn't a piece of cake in this hilarious and heartfelt romantic comedy debut. It actually might be one of my first books in May because it does come out really early in the month. If you are watching this the day that it goes up, it actually comes out tomorrow. So hopefully I am already reading this if I haven't already finished it, because I got an arc of it and I haven't read it yet. So that's what we're going to go with for contemporary. Prompt number 9. Let's go with this one. And this one is to read a book that is set in another country. For this one, we are going to go with Jaina Goes Wild by Farah Haran, and this is actually set in Africa. We are following our heroine, who is a single mom, and she ends up being part of a bridal party at a destination wedding in Tanzania. That's all I know about it. I believe our heroine is kind of stuck, and she agrees that, like, while she is on this trip, she's going to say yes to things and take some more chances, and I believe she has a romance. That's all I know about it. I got this as an arc from Forever, so we're going to give that a read. That is prop number 9. We are going to go to 12 because I am really liking the books that I'm getting on here. So let's pick prompt 10, this one, and that is to read an ebook, which is literally my entire TBR. Okay, so for an ebook, we are going to put Criminal Intentions, the first book in season 2, onto my TBR. April was a Criminal Intentions break, but we are back on our shit. So we are starting season 2 of Criminal Intentions. I know nothing about this season, and I am ready to get back into it. If you're new here, hi, I am completely and utterly obsessed with the Criminal Intentions series. I need to be back with Sanjay and Mal. I miss them so much. Like, I'm glad I took the break to reset, but I'm ready to get back on my shit with this series. So that's what we're gonna go with for ebook. Prompt 11. Let's go with this one. And this is to read an audiobook. Perfect. I have a bunch of audiobooks, but I think the one I am going to go with is the one that I have physically. It's Hostage of Pleasure by Nalini Singh. I think I've read almost every single Nalini Singh book via audio because I love the narrators for all of her books. So it's always the same narrator. I'm totally blanking on the narrator name, but I really like her narration. I have no idea who this follows, but that's what we're going to go with. And then prop number 12. Perfect. A book with an illustrated cover. I have so many of those sitting on my Kindle, so let me go pick one. So for illustrated cover, I think I'm going to go with Muscles and Monsters by Ashley Bennett. I have been meaning to read this forever, and I keep putting it off, and the third book is coming out in May, and I need to catch up so that I can read that third book. And this is a monster romance series that is also surrounding a gym, and I believe that all of the romances are following couples that meet each other at the gym. I believe this is supposed to be really cute. I know people said that it's really fun and lighthearted and humorous and sexy, and I'm ready for it. It looks adorable, and I can't wait. Plus, these covers are freaking adorable. That is going to be the last book for this video, but I have an entire list here of books that I want to read. And like I said, I have some more books for a reading vlog. I have a bunch of other series that I want to binge. I have a couple more arcs that I want to read. It's going to be a jam-packed month. I have been reading like absolutely crazy. I have been a reading machine in 2023, and I don't know what it is, but I just want to read all the things all the time. It does mean that sometimes things like these videos fall by the wayside, but you know what? Heather from here at BookTubes has talked about this before, that like reading is like if I had to dial everything down to one hobby, it's going to be reading. Making videos is a hobby as well, but if at the end of the day, if I had to choose, like if I was only allowed to do one of them, it would be reading over making videos. So sometimes I just need to prioritize the things that make me most happy, and that has been reading lately. So that is going to be all 12 of the books for this TBR. Let me know if you are reading any of these this month. If you want to buddy read them or chat about them, let me know, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.